Ring of Honor is often brought up into conversation now as almost like a feeder system to where guys start off to become major stars in the wrestling industry. And while it's tough to actually debate that, being that so many high-level wrestling stars got a start or had a stint in Ring of Honor, it's not just a place where stars were made, it was a place where stars were established. Currently, in the WWE, there are so many representations of guys who are actually Ring of Honor champions or just worked in Ring of Honor for an extended period of time. Sami Zayn, Samoa Joe, Kevin Owens, Daniel Bryan, Seth Rollins, NXT commentator Nigel McGuinness, the former WWE superstar CM Punk, AJ Styles. These were all men who had stints in Ring of Honor. So what I want to give to you guys is my top 5 Ring of Honor matches of all time. Number 5 is Bryan Danielson versus Kenta from Glory by Honor in 2006. Kenta had come over from Japan and had been made a huge star in Ring of Honor, defeating most of its top guys. And while Bryan Danielson finally got his big challenge as he faced Kenta for the World Heavyweight Championship, it seemed like Ring of Honor was poised to have a new World Heavyweight Champion. Daniel Bryan faced the undefeated Kenta in what was a mat classic. These two men started from the top, beating on each other and putting on a technical masterpiece. A lot of people may know Kenta as Hideo Itami in WWE, but if that's the only exposure you've ever happened to him, go back and watch this match. It shows that Kenta was an innovator, and many guys stole some of the offense that you see, including Daniel Bryan, from Kenta. Where do you think Daniel Bryan got the flying knee strike from? Oh, that's right, that was Kenta. Where do you think CM Punk got to go to sleep from? Oh, that's right, it was Kenta. Kenta has a huge impact on a lot of things that we see on WWE, Impact, and future AEW television because he was just that good. And this match shows it. But in the end, Kenta lost his first loss in Ring of Honor to Daniel Bryan by submission with the cattle mutilation. This put Daniel Bryan in a different category as World Heavyweight Champion and solidified him as one of the biggest wrestlers in Ring of Honor history. Number 4 was Daniel Bryan versus Takeshi Morishima from Manhattan Mayhem in 2007. Now, I might be slightly overstating how great this match was, specifically because I may have been in attendance for it, but nonetheless, this is one of the best wrestling matches I'd ever seen live. Now, a lot of people may think, hey, what are you going to get out of Daniel Bryan versus Morishima? Bryan is about 100 pounds lighter, and even though Morishima moves well for his size, it looks like it's just going to be the standard big guy versus little guy. Big guy just beats down on a little guy kind of a match. Daniel Bryan suffered a horrific eye injury during this match and kept going and showed that he had the ability to ground any opponent that he came against. Danielson's submission style really showed in this match as he tried to tie up the bigger Takeshi Morishima in order to make sure that he can ground him and defeat him. But in the end, Takeshi Morishima's weight just seemed like it was too much for Bryan Danielson to overcome, and Takeshi Morishima picked up the win in a brutal contest against Bryan Danielson. Number 3 is one of the most influential matches in Ring of Honor history. Samoa Joe versus CM Punk from the Joe vs. Punk show in 2004. This was the second meeting that Samoa Joe had with CM Punk, and it was highly anticipated by Ring of Honor fans. At this point, Samoa Joe was in the middle of a record-breaking, longest-reigning Ring of Honor title reign in the history of the company. And CM Punk seemed like he could have been the guy poised to take that championship away from Samoa Joe. These two guys went at it tooth and nail for a full hour until out of nowhere the bell rang, leaving us into suspense, not knowing what happened. But it turned out the 1-hour time limit had expired, and CM Punk versus Samoa Joe went a full hour of non-stop, high-octane, innovative offense in a match that nobody ever thought they would actually get to see. A full hour's worth of a match between two guys where nothing was settled. It set up the next match, made wrestling fans want more, and you knew that whenever Joe and Punk stepped foot into a ring, it was going to be instant magic. Samoa Joe has openly stated that one of the matches he really would like to have before his career is over is against CM Punk again. And Punk actually said that the one guy he may come out of retirement in order to face would be Samoa Joe. Now, this was also years ago, right after Punk had just really left the WWE, so it really maintains to be seen if that'll actually ever happen. But with Samoa Joe being a member of the WWE roster and CM Punk's relationship with that company, it really doesn't seem like we'll ever get to see a renewal of this classic Ring of Honor rivalry. Now, while it might seem like this might be a list of 2 guys after the next 2 matches I might bring up, it really shows just how influential some of these guys were to Ring of Honor lore. The next match on this list is Nigel McGuinness versus Bryan Danielson from Unified in 2006. Nigel McGuinness was facing one of the toughest tests he had ever had at this point. Nigel was working his way up the ranks in Ring of Honor, and if you wanted to get anywhere, you faced Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson at this point was the standard bearer in Ring of Honor, putting on great matches against every single person that he stepped foot into the ring with. When the American Dragon wrestled, you knew you had to watch because you knew it was going to be an instant classic. And against a guy like Nigel McGuinness, who was just as high of a caliber wrestler as Bryan Danielson, you knew you were in for a hard-hitting classic. These 2 guys brutalized each other with strikes, grinded each other down with submissions, and Daniel Bryan employed an elbow strike combination on Nigel McGuinness that was unheard of at the time, and won the match by TKO. At this point, Nigel McGuinness had earned his shot at the World Heavyweight Champion Daniel Bryan. McGuinness looked poised to be the guy to end Daniel Bryan's streak and win the World Heavyweight Championship, but it was just too much to overcome as Daniel Bryan unleashed a flurry of elbows to a bloodied Nigel McGuinness, and the referee had no choice but to stop the match. This showed that Nigel McGuinness could not only hang with Daniel Bryan, but Daniel Bryan couldn't pin or make Nigel McGuinness submit, cementing Nigel McGuinness as a future top star in Ring of Honor. Nigel McGuinness would win the World Heavyweight Championship during his career and go on and put together some of the better matches in Ring of Honor history against guys the caliber of Austin Aries. Number 1 may seem like it's a little out of place on this list, but it's one of those matches that led to the legitimacy of Ring of Honor. In 2005, Ring of Honor had the opportunity to bring over Japanese wrestling legend Kenta Kobashi to the United States in one of the more rare appearances that Kobashi had in the US. Ring of Honor was able to pull off this coup by giving him a match with up-and-coming star Samoa Joe. Now we know that Joe had at this point just come off one of the most influential title reigns in Ring of Honor history, but Joe was looking to be legitimized as one of the best wrestlers in the world. And how do you do that? You faced a man who is widely known as one of the best wrestlers in the world. Kenta Kobashi and Samoa Joe beat each other to a pulp in this match, showing that both of these men can give and take everything that they possibly had from each other. Samoa Joe employed his stiff offense while Kobashi beat on Samoa Joe, ultimately ending the match with a burning hammer lariat, sending Samoa Joe to the ground. But he made Samoa Joe in that match, shaking Samoa Joe's hand, leading to Samoa Joe's hand being raised at the end by the Japanese legend, further cementing Samoa Joe as one of the best wrestlers in the world. It wasn't too long after that Samoa Joe would be hired by TNA, become their X Division and future World Heavyweight Champion. Those are my top 5 Ring of Honor matches. You guys disagree? Well, then tell me in the comments. And please recommend more matches for fans to watch from Ring of Honor. There were a lot of matches that I couldn't put on this list that I really wish I could have, including Davey Richards versus Michael Elgin and Seth Rollins, or at that time Tyler Black versus Davey Richards. There were also some great tag team matches with the Briscoes and the Kings of Wrestling that I wasn't able to put on this list that I might want to in the future. Maybe I'll make a top 5 tag team matches list in Ring of Honor. If that's what you guys want, let me know and I'll do it for you. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.